Hi everybody, Levi Clay here, back again to do another edition of Guitar Souls with this bunch of arseholes. Over on my far right, we have my good friend Mike of Party Cannon fame. Also has a famous younger brother. But I think he's better. I do. I think he's genuinely a better human being, and actually, I mean, your brother gets me a discount in KFC sometimes.
He's better.
So
He's better.
that is pretty good.
He's better.
Yeah, good lad, good lad. Maybe we'll have him on at some point. And then this guy Doug. To be honest, he's doing fuck all. Nothing going on in his life, so we felt bad for him. Come up to Scotland, we'll do some videos.
That's the thing is like I was trying to carve some time out for Levi because obviously like you might have noticed the last videos we did were over a year ago. Yeah. Finally, I just couldn't think of any more excuses. So
and he's had a good year and a bit to scrape up the money to be able to afford a train to Scotland.
Yeah. I mean that's one of the excuses. Sorry, mate. I just can't afford it this month.
Yeah. So what we're going to do today?
I forgot where Scotland is.
We're going to do.
I think the border's closed this month, mate.
Yep, they let me through, and that was one big mistake. And now they're very careful about the English when they let in. So today we're going to ask Mike for a guitar player. I'm going to say this really slowly for him so he actually understands the question this time. Mike, I would like you to name for me a guitar player who is they're good or great player, and you absolutely love them, but you know they're not the best. Like maybe they're an icon, but they're a little bit shit. But you still absolutely love them, and you could never ever conceive a world. You'd never let anybody say they're shit. Well, I just kind of did.
Right.
You wouldn't stand for it.
They're not shit.
Can you think of someone?
Jeff Hanneman.
Okay. Right. Well, what do you guys think? Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you for another... Is anybody going to disagree with that?
He's awesome, and I as much as I recognise that he may not be, or he may not have been the greatest guitarist ever from the point of view of like school music or academia or technical study or something like that, in terms of achievement, like artistically, and quality of his music and the depth in which it moves people that understood it, like there's just no criticism to be levelled at the man, which I'm imagining was going to be your argument, Mike.
Pretty much. I mean, there's no rhyme or reason to what he plays, but it's still good. There's no. The average listener isn't going to go, Jesus, you better put him in the top 10 guitarists in the world. They're not. People that listen to it will. He's amazing, but greater picture of ability and musicality is a bit questionable.
He's perfect in the setting that he played in.
Yes, absolutely.
If, like, when Marty Friedman left Megadeth, if Dave Mustaine was like, you know what, don't worry guys, we've got Jeff Hanneman filling in, you might go, ooh.
Yeah, but that could be the same as like when Jeff Hanneman died and they'd got in Alan Holdsworth. Do you know what I mean? That's the same thing. It would have just been completely like amazing player, wrong setting.
Pay to see that.
Wrong. So did I.
Maybe not so much like the rhythm guitar parts would have been dire,
but it would have been the wrong setting.
Oh my days! The solos would have been so out of this world. Just
but that's a good point. I don't think they'd have fitted the music as much as just what's there.
I feel that they would have fitted the music. Maybe not as much as what's there, but compared to, say, if you put, again, talking Megadeth who hired Kiko Loureiro, if you put Kiko in there, I feel the solos would be less appropriate than something Holdsworth might play, because Holdsworth could probably have just gone into that.
Into who's going to play the most appropriate non-Slayer solo in a Slayer song? Is that the new topic?
We've gone into who should Slayer get in...
The answer was clearly Gary Holt. Like, he was the perfect fit. I was worried when I first saw it, and no, he's great. Yeah.
Could you imagine the kind of chromatic, chaotic outside sounds that Holdsworth might have brought into a setting like that? It would have been... I don't know if awesome is the right word, but it certainly would have been fascinating.
I would have loved it. I bet he'd have loved it. I bet Holdsworth was a Slayer fan.
I don't think he would.
I reckon he was a Slayer fan.
I don't think Alan Holdsworth.
I think genius recognises other genius. I think that's how it is.
You think he was secretly at all of those Slayer gigs?
That's it.
Yeah.
I reckon he had the Slatonic Warmer shirt That, like, Slayer Nation, I reckon he had a tattoo. Like, during the autopsy, they were like, oh my god, he was a Slayer fan.
He was a Slayer fan.
Just like the huge Slayer Nation chess piece.
Yeah.
Like, that's Holdsworth all over.
Jesus Christ.
Well, that certainly took a turn. But I can totally see where you're coming from. Like, I don't mind putting my hands up and saying, like, I've never been a huge Slayer fan. I listened to a reasonable amount of Slayer when I was younger, and I've been to see Slayer a couple of times, and, like, I'm just not that angry at my parents. I just never was.
When have Slayer ever been particularly angry at their parents?
I think they've just been angry about everything, isn't that?
They are absolutely furious, yeah.
That's
but
I've never been that furious in life.
It's just a creative outlet.
You're a pretty adamant atheist, you know?
Yep.
And they're pretty angry about that.
Yep.
And that seems like something you would relate to.
Well, no, isn't Tom Arai's... he's
Very strictly Catholic.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Slayer's music is fairly strongly anti-religious at this point. I feel like of all the big four metal bands, their message is probably the most in line with your beliefs. So there's no way you can say it doesn't relate to you.
Fair, but when I was a kid, my beliefs weren't as nearly as... I wasn't as strong, like I wasn't...
Precisely. If you got on board with Slayer, you'd have got to where you are now a lot sooner.
I feel that in my stance is now, if I was listening to Slayer, I'd still find it difficult to take an anti-religion message from somebody who's, like, the vocalist that it's coming from, being religious. I'd question how much...
I think that too much stock is put into that story. I don't think he's like a violent anti-theist, but I don't think he's like I'd be very surprised if Tom Araya is really a practicing Catholic mass on Sunday kind of guy. I think that too much is put into that.
Oh yeah, I'm sure you're.
I think that he's just not strongly into fighting religion.
Sure,
he's just not the lyricist.
I just mean like, and we're super off topic on the guitarist. Like, I can't imagine there's a whole lot of like real adamant passion and belief going into the words that you sing.
That would be like saying like the meaning behind Shakespeare's plays is not really valid because he wasn't the one who was delivering the lines.
Okay, yeah, no, that's a pretty fair way of putting it. And it's kind of the same with the Hellcat music. Like, I wrote a song called Leaving London, and then I got a guy who lives in London to sing it.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Right. So that doesn't affect it at all. In fact,
It's
based off the grunt of your own work.
Yeah. It doesn't. Yeah. You made a point, and I kind of went, yeah, okay, I can see it from that angle. I guess that kind of makes sense. Yeah. All right, I'll concede.
If he had that much of an issue with it, I don't think he would be performing it. Is my point.
Yes. Which, interestingly, there was almost that exact issue on the Hellcat album, where there were some lyrics that were, I was told, I don't think so on that one.
I also really like how I drew a parallel between Slayer's lyrics and the works of William Shakespeare, and nobody questioned that. It was just fun. We're on a literary level. Yeah. That's perfect.
And Levi being Levi's found a way to talk about Hellcat.
Yeah, just straight in on, how can I spin this to sell an album?
Yeah, exactly. Buy my album. It's great.
You should. It's actually not bad.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that.
It's not bad.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I can totally see. I see where you're coming from. My point was, like, I didn't get into Slayer when I was younger, but I always appreciated like what Kerry and Jeff did in that band, and when they were soloing, like, this is the second take we've done in this video because the camera ran out of battery, but we talked about soloing and like kind of randomness and chaotic to it, chaoticism, chaos,
just chaos.
And
general
that's a very hard thing to actually do, and that's exactly what a lot of those solos need. They need that mad
frenetic sound.
Yeah, I remember when I was like 15 learning Angel of Death, and I still remember it so well that I could pick up my guitar now and probably play Angel of Death from start to finish, but not the solo, obviously. And that was it for me. Like, I've got the Rain in Blood DVD in my studio actually, and I remember getting that for Christmas and watching, really looking forward to the solo, listening to them and watching them play solos because I was trying to learn the song, and you know, there was actually a tab for the solo, and I didn't have anybody to explain to me that they'd never play it that way twice, because it's not about the notes that are being played, it's about the effect that those notes have. It's about that insane
texture, right?
Yeah, exactly. And that wasn't explained in the magazine I was learning from, so I was trying to copy it exactly. And you're not going to get very far doing that. And I understood it when I watched
all those
them play
like
it live.
arrows above the tab explaining where to put your whammy
Yeah.
bar. That's no value.
But I fully
whatsoever.
got it, like when I watched them play it, and I love doing the impression, because Jeff Hanneman was like, again, one of those guys that you kind of look at and you go, well, if you came in for a guitar lesson, I'd probably say, Jeff, have you considered not picking from the elbow? It's not good for tension. But it fucking worked for him. He was good at it. So you watch these videos of him getting solo, it's just like,
he had massive arthritis problems though through his career.
Yeah.
Like I think around I think it was around the time of Divine Intervention. I could be wrong, but they were on tour and he was sitting out half the set because he had such pain in his arm that he couldn't play. So they were playing all these new tunes off. I could be getting I think it was Divine Intervention. It's a story that Rob Flynn said about after he died. He said he saw him backstage and he wasn't playing some of the songs in it because he had such pain in his elbow. He couldn't play the really fast ones. And it's like, you look at his technique and it's like,
no wonder.
You can kind of see that.
Yeah.
So I think that's the example of what I think you've made a really good choice there, because I think it's a player that we can all, for different you have to respect it. It's one of Slayer is pretty much one of the most important bands to me. I love that band, but it's certainly in an academic sense of guitar. I actually use him with my students a lot as an example of like, don't just do a technique because you've seen someone famous doing it. Do you know what I mean? Like any time someone taught, you don't want to model your technique on someone just because you like their music.
No,
always.
definitely. They're great for arguing context to certain items.
They're also a great example of why none of this shit really matters, right? Because they make music so great that who cares? You know what I mean?
Music that touch people
when I'm
more so than any of ours ever
the
will.
music that I enjoy the most is being made by someone who's picking from his elbow, and as someone who's made a career essentially out of telling people, try moving your wrist, and then I get home and it's like elbow picking. So to the moral of this video is I'm an absolute shaft. Clearly,
Yep. Okay. I'm happy to end on that. So Jeff Hanneman, what do you guys think? Obviously, an icon of metal. We've talked about the big four, almost all of the big four. We're not going to delve into the last one because I don't think any of us could make a case for said player.
Anything about them?
Yeah.
Can't even make a case for them being in the big four.
Exactly. Yeah. So Jeff Hanneman, what do you guys think? Is he somebody that you look up to?
I'm glad you did think about it.
Yeah. No, I'm sorry, I misheard you for a moment. I was like, what? No, there's no argument there.
Still rolling. Still rolling.
Oh, still going. Sorry,
Yeah, we are.
do the sign off. Sorry.
You've got a line to do in a second.
I thought we were just drinking tonight. What?
Yeah.
That was a joke.
Oh, it became a good night. So Jeff Hanneman, give us your thoughts on Jeff. Are there any other guitarists that you can think of that fall into this category? Somebody that you would passionately defend as being one of the best, even though deep down inside you kind of know, they're not the best. Very interested to hear what you have to say. So comment, like, share, subscribe, and all of that good stuff. Requests, they also work too. We will be back for another video shortly. So until then, until next time.
We'll see you soon.